Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
Whether we win the game or lose the game, it's not going to make me feel any less about or any better about this football team. This team right here is special, and it has been great to be a part of it. And I know we're going to go play, our best 4 quarters of the season Saturday night. And hopefully that's good enough to win.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome into Sports Talk South Carolina Radio Network here on a Still Talking Tuesday. Dabo Swinney, one of 3 college coaches in our state, with something to talk about. Of course, the Citadel and Charleston Southern, the other 2, still in action with the FCS playoff showdown between those 2 coming up on Saturday. And then we will be down to just 2 because Clemson will have some sort of postseason activity, either in the national playoffs or in a bowl game, and either Citadel, Charleston Southern will advance to the next round of the FCS playoffs. You hear from Dabo Swinney coming up tonight here on Sports Talk. We'll also hear from you, 800-956-7266. My head is spinning from trying to read and follow all the different stuff out there today regarding the South Carolina search. We'll talk about that, try to share with you our insights as best we can, hear from you and take your insights as well. Also, a little Frank Martin and Brad Brownell from their games last night, a big win for South Carolina. They go to 7-0. Anybody noticing a tough loss for Clemson up at Minnesota on a night that they shot the ball extremely well, the Tigers did, but did not play Brad Brownell-style defense and allowed Minnesota to shoot the ball well, and Minnesota knocked down 24 free throws as well. So we got that coming up for you tonight. And K-Mac is here. He was up at Clemson. Pro was here. He was here all day. The mood up at Tigerland, hey, we're going to have pizza at Death
party.
Valley. Win or lose on Saturday night,
Papa
pizza
John's
will be served. What are the details?
Well, the details are TBA, but what you can mark on your calendar at some point Sunday in Death Valley, win or lose Saturday night, they're having a pizza party. It'll either be around the time of the Final Four selection in the college football playoff or around the time of the Power Six, the New Year's Six, is that what they call it now? Bowl game selection later in the afternoon. But they are going to have a pizza party for the football team, win or lose, because as you heard in the open there, Dabo Swinney said they should celebrate their season because it has been special at 12-0, regardless of what happens against the Tar Heels on Saturday.
Well, if it's Papa John's, since he's not doing anything, Peyton can deliver.
Yes, he can. I wonder if they'll have pepperoni or just plain cheese.
He'll hand it to the wrong person.
Any peppers going to be included in the boxes? Is it Papa John's the ones that give you the little peppers in there too?
Pepperoncinis, yes, they do.
Yeah. All right, that's great. Make your plans for that. Don't forget, at the same time, more or less, maybe close to it, Clemson basketball on Sunday over in Greenville against Wofford at 2 o'clock. I got a feeling that game will be an afterthought with everything else going on. 800-956-7266. Coach of the Year, by the way, in the ACC is Dabo Swinney. Clemson gets a basketball commitment from a local kid. Tell you about that coming up.
Keep up with sports news all day on Twitter at SportsTalkSC. Now back to Sports Talk with Korn, K-Mac, and the Pro.
Okay, we're back, 800-956-7266. Happy December to you. It's good to have football still with us here in December, and a lot of things going on, and we got a lot of stuff to tell you about. 800-956-7266. Let me begin with this, because I know you want to talk about this. Steve Spurrier sent a letter to the state newspaper today to be shared with the Gamecock fans. So if you'll bear with me, I'll read it as Steve Spurrier penned it.
Can you do it in his voice?
I don't do good impersonations.
Oh, darn. That would have been a lot of fun.
In the last few years, when asked how much longer I plan to coach, I have said often that if our team is going in the wrong direction, I need to resign and allow someone else to take over as head coach here. After 6 games, we were 2-4 with 2 blowouts by Georgia and LSU. We were behind at halftime against UCF, a team that went 0-12 this year. We were definitely going in the wrong direction. I felt that I was doing a lousy job as head coach, and a change would help our team become more competitive. I told our team after I resigned that they needed new leadership, new enthusiasm, and a new plan. By stepping aside, this allowed Sean Elliott the opportunity to change our direction, change our attitude, and hopefully he could be named head coach after the season. If this happens, some of our assistant coaches would be retained, and this was a major reason for me to get out of the way. Also, by resigning, I forfeited the buyout clause in my contract that saved our university $3 million. I certainly believe, as the media has said, that our team played better after I resigned. Sean Elliott did an excellent job getting this team prepared to play with enthusiasm and effort the rest of the season. Unfortunately, the close games turned into close losses. When I mentioned I may coach again, I meant possibly as a volunteer coach at a high school. After 30 years as a head coach, I positively know that my head coaching career is finished. I understand the critics have asked why I didn't announce I was retiring at the end of the season, as some other coaches have done. I felt that if I had done this, I would have been a distraction throughout the remainder of the season about my last game everywhere I went. I did not want a, quote, Spurrier farewell tour, end quote. The players deserve to be the story of each game. Also, I would have prevented Sean Elliott, a coach that has loved the South Carolina Gamecocks his whole life, from getting the shot to be the interim head coach with the possibility of becoming the head coach here. When a coach gets fired, the change is often good and helpful to the team. Miami was 4-3 when Al Golden was fired, and the interim head coach went 4-1. Randy Edsall was 2-4 at Maryland when fired, and his replacement got the team playing better. Clay Helton, the interim coach at the other USC, was recently named head coach as they went 5-2 under his watch. Our university was not going to fire me, so I thought it was best for our team that I basically fire myself by resigning. The players have enjoyed playing for Coach Elliott, and again, the media has said the team has performed better after I resigned. Thanks to all Gamecocks for allowing me to be your coach for over 10 years. My wife, Jerry, and I will always be thankful and appreciative to the University of South Carolina for this opportunity. Sincerely, Steve Spurrier. React?
Oh, it's a good letter. What were you?
Pretty much what he's said all
much he
along.
said,
There was nothing new there. I didn't know that he forfeited the buyout. I know a lot of people have talked about him still getting paid, and that's ruffled some feathers, no pun intended, but nothing really new there. He's clearly sensitive to the fact that people have questioned and called him out for leaving mid-season and being called a quitter. And I don't think that sits well with him. And he's spent most of his retired life, or well, he didn't call it a retirement. He said he was resignation, which is even worse. He should have said and according to Josh Kendall, all three of those guys are still on the table for the Gamecocks, according to a source.
You know, Herman had an interesting comment last night, did he not?
Yeah, apparently, you know, he had the comment at his press conference where he said there's an agreement in principle for him to stay, that word, that phrase again, to stay at Houston. And then later in the night, somebody asked him about it. He said, I'm at Houston for now. So,
you never know.
Here's the thing. You know, there's some coaches being talked about that Ray could hire today. He could hire them today. Obviously, he could hire a Muschamp today. He could go get him. He could go, when I say hire, I mean make the effort. He could go try and hire Mark Richt today. He's available. If he's not hiring somebody this week, especially Muschamp, who's been all the rage here for the most part.
Why is he waiting? Is that your question?
Exactly.
It would make you think it's somebody that's still coaching
today. Muschamp get his staff together and they can start recruiting. They've got until
if that's
December
your guy.
14th, I believe it is, when the dead period kicks in. So you got a couple of weeks to get out there and beat the bushes.
But those three guys in Josh Kendall's story that are, and Tanner said in a statement to the state newspaper that he's working on a short list, and those are the three guys listed there. Now, there's a couple other names that you've also mentioned, but those three guys are all they're working this week.
Yeah, they're off the market this week in terms of, now, you know, Jimmy Sexton
he's working.
That's
the whole thing with Muschamp for me. That was an agent, and that's the game that's played now. And these agents, it behooves him to put
his name,
Will Muschamp's name out there, and everybody's talking about Will Muschamp. You know, Will Muschamp's still a name. He's still a commodity.
I saw a comment today by somebody. I've read so many things today, basically implying that Herman ATM'd Tanner. You know, he used Tanner in South Carolina to get that race. I give Ray Tanner more credit than that.
It happens all the time, though.
I know, but I give Ray Tanner more credit than that. I don't believe that he got out there and the Tom Herman thing. You know, if he got played, then so be it. But I think I give him more credit than that for being smart and savvy. And who knows? This thing's taking so many twists and turns, not only here, but the complications because of what happened at Georgia and
what almost happened at LSU.
And what also, almost happened at LSU. Okay, we'll come back and get to your phone calls in a moment. All right, Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network, presented by Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 college savings plan. Future Scholar is the smart and easy way to save for a loved one's future college costs. The holidays are a perfect time to invest. Visit futurescholar.com for more information. Future Scholar is administered by the Office of State Treasurer Curtis Loftus. To your phone calls we go. On this Monday night, we begin over in Charleston with, you just can't sneak him in on me like that and not give me a heads up. I mean, no, we'll go to him because he deserves a proper introduction. It's been so long since we heard from the bad boy by the bay, the ninja of the night, the pontiff of the port city, the queen, the cowboy crybabies. And I need a new and for him. And someone who definitely is not a candidate for the head coaching job at South Carolina. I wonder how many votes he got in the recent Charleston election for mayor. We're not talking Jim Rome here. We're talking J. Rome. What up?
Hey, just let me tell all of America this. The South Carolina Gamecocks are not going to hire Rich Julio from the Cowboys.
Basasha.
Because Phil is whatever. Because Phil is an unabashed Dallas Cowboy hater. They're not going to hire that guy for Durham from North Carolina. Because Phil is an unabashed North Carolina hater.
Mm-hmm.
And that guy from Houston, the coach in Houston, if he leaves Houston, he's going to Texas. Because they got way more money than you guys got. Way more.
But the Texas job isn't open. The Texas job isn't open.
But you know what? Hey, keep this in mind. Once we start drilling outside of Charleston and Myrtle Beach, we'll be a state with oil money. Imagine what that can do for athletics. We're going to be as rich as Texas one day.
Drill, baby, drill.
And
Dream on, dreamer.
Then our number 2 industry, which is tourism, might be number 1 industry.
How them Falcons doing?
Hey, Jerome, are you going to get a job on an oil well out off the Charleston coast one day?
Oil rig.
I'm sorry, oil rig. I got to get the terminology right. Oil rig.
Let me ask you another question. Is your quarterback going to win a game before he has to body slam somebody in that locker room to get this thing turned around? Because you're not looking good there lately.
Thursday. Do you get the NFL Network? If not, you can come over to my house.
Hey, I'm still euphoric over the Bears getting the W on Thursday on you. How about the Bears?
I'm sick about that. I threw up my turkey. I was so sick. Disgusted.
And then you got to play Detroit again, and they're hot.
Yeah. Hot. Matthew Stafford will take care of things for us. I'm not too worried.
Well, it's kind of funny that after, Ford came down and just cleaned all the upper officers out, they started playing well. The president's gone. The GM's gone.
Yeah. One of us is going to come back to reality. I'm hoping it's us being the Packers. I hope we get back to where we're supposed to be. But, talking about the Packers, I mean, we've got a group of receivers right now that look totally
Jordan
lost.
Jordan Nelson is not coming through that door.
Can't believe one guy, one white guy in particular, drops off your roster.
How about a talented guy?
And you come apart at wide
That's
receiver.
racist.
Look,
Why there's no letters to the editor, or why First Take's not doing should Travis Kelce be dancing in the end zone? I'm sure they didn't. They didn't. Okay. Wonder why they're not doing that. Oh, wow. Because he's not black. That's probably what it is.
All right, Sports Talk, Tuesday night, presented by South Carolina soybean farmers and their checkoff. Learn more at scsoybeans.org. Pork powered by soy. A couple of other things to mention to you, then we'll go back to the phone calls. Did I mention that Dabo Swinney? I think I did. Dabo Swinney, Coach of the Year in the ACC. We did mention that. Larry Fedora was second in the voting. First ACC Coach of the Year award for Swinney, the 9th for a Clemson head coach. The ACC Defensive Rookie of the Year, well, the Rookie of the Year is Pitt strong safety Jordan Whitehead. He was also named the ACC Defensive Rookie of the Year. And Panthers running back Quadri Allison is the league's Offensive Rookie of the Year. So Pitt's got a couple of good young players.
So and he wouldn't even got a chance if Connor wouldn't have gotten injured.
The Miami job reports. Looking to replace Al Golden, Palm Beach Post, reporting Butch Davis interviewed with Miami. And the Sun Sentinel says Greg Schiano and Dan Mullen are involved there. And also Miami will speak with its alum, Mark Ricks, about the job. And let's see what else here. That's it on that. Jamie Childers, the former Wando quarterback turned tight end at Coastal Carolina, signed today with the 49ers for their practice squad. So good luck with that for him. Hope it goes well. And Newberry, 4 Newberry players earned all Super 2 region honors, Division II. Punter Kyle Clark, defensive lineman Alstivus Squirewell, might be Alstivus Squirewell. Linebacker Taylor McDonald, they earned first-team honors. Offensive lineman Landon Martin was on the second team. Coach Todd Knight spoke yesterday at the gathering of coaches for the high school championship games, and he was fantastic, told some great stories, did a tremendous job. USC's Asia Wilson, SEC Women's Co-Player of the Week. In 3 wins, she averaged about 21 points, 8 rebounds, 2.3 blocks per game. And Robin Pemberton is leaving NASCAR as Senior Vice President of Competition at the end of this year. And NASCAR announced today that the chase on NBC and NBCSN was the most watched finale since 2005, peaking with nearly 12.4 million average viewers. And they also had a record number of fans through their digital and social media outlets. So that's good. That's a good sign for NASCAR. All right, 800-956-7266. David Price, by the way, headed to the Red Sox, 7 years, $217 million.
That's all?
See what a Vanderbilt education can do for you?
And it also includes a 3-year opt-out clause. So it means he can renegotiate that contract upwards.
Yeah, be a Yankee.
They got a money-making machine in Boston.
2018, 2019, be a Yankee. We'll get the last 100 wins out of that arm. We go next to Gamecock Will in Easley. Okay, Gamecock Will, how are you? Welcome to Sports Talk.
Doing good, Phil. How about you?
Good, very good.
I respect you and your show more about information and recruiting more than anybody in the state. So I want you to give me a couple minutes here. I'll comment on this football coaching thing for a second.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm 55 years old, and I've been in Gamecock all my life. And I live down here in Easley next to the, Clemson people. But there's a lot of Carolina fans down here, and we've been so close. I mean, Spurrier, he brought us to another level. I mean, we got to a championship game in Atlanta. We got 3 11-win games. We got 5 wins in a row against Clemson. I mean, Spurrier took us to another level. But what I'm trying to say is the defense is mostly gone right now in this new age college football. Right now it's an offensive thing. I mean, I know you said Smart, Fedora, and Herman is your top 3 choices, but I mean, I don't know what Tanner's got to do. But I hope he's listening or somebody's listening. But I wish he would go ahead. I know Spur was making $4.3 million. Pay $4.5 million to Herman, $5 million, whatever you got to pay him, off to the man. And let's get Herman in it right now. He's young, he's hungry, he's energetic. And I'm going to throw 2 more names out there: Mike Leach and Art Riles from Baylor. I mean, I know Baylor's going to be hard to get away from, but if you throw $5 million out there, I mean, Carolina, Phil, we've been so close. The fans, we deserve it. The school deserves it. I mean, this is the most important hire in Carolina history in my book.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we just need to take it to the championship level. If you want a championship team, hire a big-name coach. I don't care if you got $5 million. They're paying $7 million. You're paying Spurrier $4.3. I mean, offer the man $5 million. I mean, do what you got to do. Get a big-name coach in here. We tired of winning 19 games. We want to win SEC championship.
Well, under that logic, why not just offer Nick Saban $8 million? I mean, it's not just about money for these coaches. I mean, let's be honest. You're making $6 million a year. You're making $7 million a year. I don't think your lifestyle changes that much. These guys, they're not going to go to Baylor and take Baylor's coach. They're not going to go to TCU and take TCU's coach. They couldn't go to Houston yet. And maybe the door's not completely closed, but so far they haven't been able to pry Tom Herman away from Houston. So to me, the Gamecock fans online, they're all freaking out. They want Ray Tanner to do something. It's been but who cares about the process? You just want him to get the right guy.
Here's part of the deal, though. Keep in mind, and I don't know what has gone on behind the scenes and why things are where they are today. But I mean, Ray had a head start because he had an opening before most everybody else.
Sure. That is correct.
But again, you can't force the hands of these guys either.
Well, they're still coaching. I mean, if it's Kirby Smart, if it's Larry Fedora, if it's Tom Herman,
and then other things happen that kind of change the landscape.
Absolutely,
and change the game plan.
Could I use his words a little bit differently here? Let's go out and get a big name coach. Well, why don't you get a young coach that's hungry enough that South Carolina makes him the big name? Sometimes you got to strike any hire you make, I don't care if it's the biggest name in the world, is a leap of faith.
Well,
now he mentioned Mike Leach. You can't get Mike Leach,
Mikey.
but I will say this: you can have a guy who learned under the knee of Mike Leach, and I mentioned him yesterday, and that's Lincoln Riley.
Lincoln Riley.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, here's. But Ray Tanner said on this show, Corn, he said shortly after Steve Spurrier stepped down, he said his timeline for a hire was probably the first or second week in December. It's December 1st. Right. So in Ray Tanner's mind, you don't want a guy that's panicking, going, "Oh my God, we got to hire somebody." People,
correct.
That's not what you want. You don't want a coach that panics. You don't want an AD that panics. This is a process. Fans panic. They get antsy because they say, "Oh, Virginia Tech hired Fuentes. Oh, what Herman pulled." So they're freaking out, and they see Georgia opened up, and that's natural. But the AD needs to be a little more pragmatic. You don't want people just doing something silly. You don't want to invade the wrong country and start a war.
Here's what I think. I think that the caller was partially right at the beginning. I think I think Tom Herman was his guy from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I think you got Bob McNair sitting right there in Houston. You don't get outbid by Houston for a coach in football.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think you do everything you can to convince Tom Herman that this is a lifetime opportunity for you. Forget everything that you might have been told or what your perception is. And you may have to sweeten that pot to, $5 million a year. I mean, if you really believe this is the guy, now you'd have to have some assurances. You'd have to sign a long contract and have all kind of little clauses in there to make sure that you keep him in place for an extended period.
Yeah, you don't want to be doing this again next year.
Right. An agent friend of mine told me years ago, the first thing you negotiate is if my man fails, how much do we get? Then you work from there.
Well, okay. We'll be back in a minute.
Guys, they never sleep. Check them out on the web at SportsTalkSC.com. Now, more of Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network.
Back we are, Sports Talk on a Tuesday night, Talking Tuesday. We'll hear from Dabo Swinney coming up in a little bit, 800-956-7266. If you want to warm the phone lines with us, email talkback at sportstalksc.com and on Twitter at SportsTalkSC. The website is sportstalksc.com. We thank you for going to the website, a record month for us on the website in November, and we expect it to remain very active here in December and moving forward. And on Facebook, it is Sports Talk Radio Network. Now, whether you are a Carolina Gamecock or you bleed Clemson Orange, all South Carolina college football fans can agree on Founders Federal Credit Union with a convenient location on USC's campus, a Clemson office coming soon. Founders is a sure fan favorite. Visit RelaxJoinFounders.com to see if you qualify for membership. 800-956-7266. A couple lines have opened up if you want to join us here on the program tonight on Sports Talk, talking about USC coaching search, talking about Clemson getting ready for North Carolina, talking a little basketball. We'll hear from Frank Martin and Brad Brownell. The Gamecocks winners last night, 7-0 now. They took over the game against Western Carolina really kind of towards the end of the first half and then really stretched things out in the second half, led by as much as 28 or so. And, they're just right now, they are killing people on the boards. And they're getting great play from Akashinas, who has been steady, had another double-double last night. Hakevicius didn't have a great game last night, but he's been good most of the season. They're a balanced attack. Frank Martin was a little unhappy with some on-the-ball defense from his point guards. But, he's starting to see little things now. Instead of big things breaking down, it's the little things he's trying to fix to make them even better. They've been an exciting group to watch. Silva had 11 rebounds last night. People need to get out and watch the USC basketball team. Was not a big crowd last night at the arena. So people need to wake up and realize that you've got, well, not one, but two undefeated basketball teams in Columbia going right now, the men and the women.
Yeah, the interesting thing about it is also Stroman can't play because he got a quad.
He played last night.
No, I'm saying the other game. Justin Mackey comes in and has 6 assists. Okay. They have guys coming off the bench ready to play. P.J. Dozier's game was pedestrian last night, but everybody else picked up the slack. And this kid Silva probably doesn't know where to go yet, but if he makes a mistake, he more than makes up with his quickness and his leaping ability. They showed I saw one play last night where he was totally out of place on defense and just ran the guy down and blocked his shot. You don't see that too often. The one thing they might want to clean up right now is the turnovers.
All right, back to the phone calls we go, and we head next to Hank in Columbia. Welcome into Sports Talk, Hank. How are you?
I'm doing fine, Bill. I just wanted to call in. I've heard so many fans and talking about where Ray Tanner's doing this, doing that. I think Ray Tanner is actually doing a good job because most of the time, I think there's been so many names out there. It's because Ray Tanner's done such a good job of keeping to himself and keeping in-house what he's going to do. And so thus all these names out here, and I think agents are throwing some names out there for some of these guys. But I think that all these people just need to wait until he finishes and then see what happens. But because he's done a good job of not letting out what he's actually going to do or where he's going to be.
Well, this is true. I mean, he is a one-man band on this thing. He's keeping it to himself for the most part. I guess there's still some people he has to answer to, the president, maybe some people on the board. Some people on the board, they have to have some knowledge about what's going on because they have to prepare things. They have to approve contracts. They have to prepare certain documents, et cetera, et cetera. So there'll be some people up and down the chain of command who will know something. But for the most part, he has been doing this thing on his own and keeping it to himself and, putting his head down. He was not at the basketball game last night, for what it's worth. I didn't see him. I'd seen him at most
He
of the
actually
other
called
games.
here to see if you were going to be there, and we said yes, and he said thanks.
Okay.
I said why? He
Is that
said
what it
no
was?
reason.
I thought we blocked his
no.
number from calling us. Anyway, thank you for the phone call. You look, I personally, and I don't have a dog in the fight. Whoever they hire will be fine with me. You're not going to hear me say that's a terrible hire, because it's a roll of the dice no matter who you hire. I'm willing to give anybody the benefit of the doubt, for 2 or 3 years to get it figured out. But I have faith, complete confidence that Ray Tanner will eventually get a good head coach for South Carolina. I have no doubt in my mind. I mean, he's a smart guy. He's well respected, and he knows the qualities that you have to have in a successful coach. Back in a moment. All right, to the recruiting report we go, and a commitment for Clemson in basketball this afternoon. 6'3" junior guard A.J. Oliver of Daniel to the Tigers, their first commitment for 2017. He is the son of Clemson women's basketball coach Audra Smith. He also had offers from Texas Tech, Wofford, the College of Charleston, Old Dominion, Florida International. But it was Clemson all the way. He told us, quote, "I chose Clemson because I'm close to home. It's a great environment, and there will be an amazing facility there in 2016. I just love the people and the way they run their program. It's just an all great fit for me." He averaged 22 points, 5 rebounds, 85% from the line, 36% from three last season. About the future, he said, quote, "What I see in the future for us is to get to a national championship. I don't care how long out of my 4 years it will take, but that's the main goal I'm looking for with the Tigers, and I think we can accomplish that." Now to football. USC with the offer recently to receiver Nate Johnson, 5'11", 175, Thompson Station, Tennessee. After missing on Dre Massey, who went to Florida, they offered Johnson, and they probably see a similar type of receiver to Dre Massey. He's very interested in the Gamecocks. Steve Spurrier Jr. is supposed to visit with him on Friday. It's an out-of-state SEC offer for him. South Carolina's big time, he said. Very interested, wants to take his official visit. He's still playing 72 catches, 1,633 yards, and 23 touchdowns this season. Once was committed to Purdue. Also talking to Vandy, Northwestern, Miami, and Tennessee. Vols haven't offered official visits right now. Miami, January 16th, Vandy, the 23rd, Northwestern, the 30th. Richland Northeast linebacker T.J. Brunson was at USC Saturday, and then yesterday, USC recruiter Kirk Bodkin met with him at school and at his home. He has set an official visit with the Gamecocks for January 16th. Said his parents got to talk to Botkin. Says he's sort of grown fond of the USC staff. He says it depends on the new coach as far as his future interest. He's still open to USC, he said, until they figure out the new coach. And he's still committed to Louisville, and Todd Grantham was over to see him on Monday as well. He takes his official to USC this weekend, and he also might take an official to Purdue. USC target defensive end Sedarius Hutcherson of Huntington, Tennessee, will visit Arizona State January 25th. He's already got USC down for January 16th. And USC commitment offensive lineman Will Putnam was in for the Clemson game. He says he's still committed, very interested in South Carolina, and very interested in who they declare as a new coach. He also, of course, had considered Virginia Tech before committing to USC. He has not heard from the Hokies since they named their new coach. He plans to take his official visit to USC in January, and he might take one to Virginia Tech as well. And don't forget to follow recruiting on our website, sportstalksc.com, and on Twitter, very simply, use the hashtag STRecruiting. That'll take you right to all the stories. Top of the hour break.
Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
Okay, we're back. Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. The playoff committee releasing their new rankings. Tennessee breaks in at number 25. Did you catch the other ones? 25 to 21 there?
Not really.
20 is, hey, USC is, oh, that's Southern Cal.
Yes.
See, that's not right. You know, they should, that just shows a favoritism to the Trojans. That should be Southern Cal at 20. Houston, Florida, Oklahoma State, Oregon at 16. That's where they stand. Right, a team with 4 losses is ranked number 20. Go figure. It's Southern Cal. Let's take another phone call while we wait for the official naming of Clemson number 1 again. Jack, here in Columbia, listening on The Point. Thank you so much. How are you? Hello, Jack. How are you, Jack? I think Jack has put the phone to the side. Let's try another one. How about Alan in Spartanburg? Hello, Alan. Welcome into Sports Talk.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
Hey.
You know, you said something a while ago about some of the recruiting that Carolina is doing. I thought it was reported earlier that they should stop all that. And the last person I would want out talking to a recruit is Steve Spurrier Jr. for 2 reasons. You know, one, because he's Steve Spurrier Jr. and he can't recruit, apparently. And number 2, he doesn't have the interest in it. So what gives with the recruiting that's going on? Are these guys still going to be around? Is there something that we don't know?
There was so many things I've read. My mind is a blur. A couple of weeks ago, back during the season, there was a report that the staff had been instructed not to take any more commitments. They've denied that.
That was refuted.
Yeah, they've denied that. Sean Elliott denied that. So, no, they've never stopped recruiting, even though they realize the guys that they're recruiting, they won't be here. Many of them won't be here to coach them. For example, Deke Adams recruiting J.J. Gibbons for USC. You know, he's told J.J. that, you know, I'm probably not going to be here when you come. But he's continuing to recruit him. He's going to be up there this week for an in-person visit. Look, these guys are still under contract through January into next year. Some of them, I think a couple of them have 2 years, have another year left on their contracts. I think Hoke and Whammy. I think Hoke and Ward both have another year left. So, you know, they're still working for South Carolina, and they know it would be in their best interest to do their best job to talk up South Carolina and try and hold this class together until they get another job. So they are still recruiting the best they can. Steve Spurrier Jr. amongst them out there. I've talked to recruits that he is recruiting. He plans to go visit and talk up South Carolina. And who knows off the staff who the new guy will retain. And don't forget, you know, still kind of lurking back there is Sean Elliott. If things, you know, perhaps don't go the way Tanner wants them to go, he can always go back to Sean Elliott. Back in a moment.
Now back to Sports Talk, South Carolina's most listened to sports talk show for more than 30 years.
It is a Talking Tuesday. We've been yapping quite a bit, but it's time to hear from Clemson coach Dabo Swinney. By the way, the Tigers are number 1, Alabama's 2, Oklahoma's 3, and Iowa is 4. No change from last week in the college football playoff ranking. Only one more ranking for the Tigers to achieve, and that would be number 1 on Sunday afternoon, assuming they can knock off North Carolina Saturday night in Charlotte. Dabo Swinney has got his eyes set on the big prize. Here's the coach.
Believe it or not, I am really happy to see y'all today. I mean, I really am, because this means we're in the championship. Otherwise, I would be, on the road eating a Chico stick and a Slim Jim and drinking a Diet Coke, riding in the car with one of the coaches recruiting, going from school to school or home to home, whatever. But man, when you have a press conference this time of year, and that means you've had a heck of a year. And, man, it's awesome to be a part of the championship. And appreciate you reminding me of that. I mean, that just is crazy for me to even kind of wrap my mind around my 100th game. And I think that's pretty neat. That's pretty neat. It really is to, a lot of people's 100th game, it's not one of those things you can control or predict, and a lot of people's 100th games against like East Toboga Community College, and it just is what it is. But to be in the ACC championship game, to have your 100th game, because that's special regardless, but for it to be such a meaningful game is awesome. And I know Noonan was just in here, I think, but really, again, congratulations to our men's soccer team and just the season that they've had. And I just think it's awesome that both football teams are competing for the Final Four this week. So that's pretty neat. That's pretty neat. And I'm really happy for all the players involved in that. But I'm proud of our team. I'm proud of our staff for just an incredible year. What a great year it's been. Been special in every regard. Finish 12-0 with our regular season is obviously, first time it's happened in 34 years, and we're going to try to not wait that long to do it again. I hope that it won't be 34 years before we have an undefeated season around here again. But I also want to congratulate all of our all-ACC players. I mean, I think we had a record 18 guys, counting Dodd. I think he made honorable mention, which is amazing to me. But 18 guys making all-conference, and including every offensive lineman, all of our starting offensive linemen. I just think that is just incredible, and also want to congratulate Coach V being named the finalist for the Broyles Award. Much deserved. And certainly, hope that he wins that. And just a great job by our staff. But, again, it's a privilege to compete for the title. North Carolina, impressive. I mean, impressive team, really. Just as I've had a chance to really dial into them and look at all phases of the game, this is a complete football team. And that's why they're a champion. They've won 11 straight, and I think this is a great matchup. I really do. Looking at their offense, first of all, they're all back. I mean, I think they lost one player off of last year's team. So everybody's back. They've got good depth. There's really not a weakness when you look at their offense. There really isn't. I mean, they've got a dynamic quarterback that can throw it and run it. They're good up front. They've got speed and skill all over the field with the backs and the tight ends and the receivers. This is a complete offense, so this is a great matchup. There's no question about it. Got some playmakers. I mean, they scored 35 points on us last year, and we had a pretty good group. They hit 3 big plays on us. Little number 3 had 2 touchdowns on jailbreak screens, just fast and ran away from us. They had a big 3rd and 1, about a 75-yard play action pass on us. That number 13 is as fast a guy as we've seen all year. He can fly. So he went up and mossed, McKenzie last year in the end zone, took one, just went up and took it right over the top of his head. Got great ball skills. So they're an explosive group and a ton of big plays. And the reason they've had so much success like us is they're very balanced. And, when you can have that type of balance in your offense with great skill, then you're a problem for people. And so very similar to us in a lot of ways offensively. But they were that last year too. The biggest difference for them is defense. I think Coach Chizik has done an incredible – he's a finalist for the Bulls Award too, and he should be. He has done an incredible job. They've got an excellent scheme. They've not given up near the big plays that they gave up last year. They've created a ton of turnovers, a ton. They mix up their coverages with a lot between their 4-man and cover twos and their when they bring their one high pressures, a lot of press. They're confident with their press technique outside. Do a great job involving their safeties in the run game. So just very sound with their scheme, very sound fundamentally in what they're doing over there. So impressive. And then special teams, why is that little number 3 he's dangerous. He can change a game with one touch on punt return. So and then they got Logan back there on kick returns, him and 21 I believe. So this is again a complete football team. There's a reason why they've won 11 in a row. They're the coastal champion, and there's a reason why we've won a bunch in a row too. And so I think this is great for the ACC to have a matchup like this in our conference championship game. 2 great champions sell out. Just looking forward to going up to Charlotte and being a part of it, competing our butts off for the title. 4 quarters away from being the ACC champion, and that's what we're dialed in on. The other thing I would say is we're going to have a pizza party on Sunday. That's going to happen, and it's this thing kind of took on a life of its own somehow. But it's kind of hard to plan, for a pizza party when you don't really know the out. You can't just have a pizza party if you win the game because you're not going to really know that till midnight or 1 in the morning. That's a lot of dough. As the season has played out, the important thing I think for everybody, regardless of whether we win or lose the game Saturday night, this team deserves to be celebrated. It really does. And so we're going to have a pizza party, and Joe Galbraith and them boys, they'll all get you they'll get you the details of the time. Obviously, if we win the game, we know we're going to be in the Final Four, and I think that show starts at like noon. And so they'll open the stadium. We're going to have the DJ. We're going to have a heck of a time. And we're going to celebrate this team and celebrate our next destination in the postseason. If we don't win the game, we're still going to be in one of those New Year's Six bowls, which is, an incredible accomplishment. Whether we win the game or lose the game, it's not going to make me feel any less about or any better about this football team. This team right here is special. And it has been great to be a part of it. And I know we're going to go play, our best 4 quarters of the season Saturday night. And hopefully that's good enough to win. But regardless of the outcome, man, there's going to be a celebration on Sunday. If we're not in the Final Four, I think the show for the rest of the Big Six starts like 3 o'clock. So they'll announce when all that stuff's going to happen. But Papa John's has stepped up big time, and they're all in, and they're really helped us out in being a part of this. So everybody's going to get some pizza, and sessions are open, and let's have a great time. This, like I said, this team, win or lose Saturday, they deserve to be celebrated. They really do, because it has been an amazing season watching these guys play, and can't wait to compete with them one more time. So put that on your calendar. Pizza party. TBA on time will be announced about 1:30 a.m. Saturday night. So we'll look forward to that. Everybody's healthy. Got everybody all hands on deck. We're very fortunate in that regard. So looking forward to it.
Okay, there you go. Dabo Swinney on this Talking Tuesday. Get your pizza order in on Sunday. Hey, coming up December 12th in Myrtle Beach, the 2015 Touchstone Energy Cooperatives North-South All-Star Game. You can see 88 of South Carolina's top high school football players as they go head-to-head for an All-Star title. Get your tickets now. Go to northsouthallstarfootball.com. 800-956-7266. Michigan State, number 5 in the ranking, and Ohio State, number 6. Stanford 7, Notre Dame 8, Florida State 9, and North Carolina in at number 10. Hard to believe North Carolina can get to the playoff by beating Clemson and jumping over all those folks. But who knows? The committee might think differently on Sunday. Back to your phone calls we go. And Jack in Columbia, let's see if he's with us this time. Jack, are you there? You think Jack's just walked away for good and left the phone on? Bulldog Bert in Saluda. Well, BB, how do you explain what your people have done?
Oh, I thought this was the pizza order place. I'm sorry. Well, I guess it's time for us to get smart.
No, that's been used already in connection with another school.
Don Adams is dead.
But
you want smart, hands down, no questions asked. That's who you want. Sign him up.
That's who I want.
So you think Georgia football in the immediate future and down the road will be better off with Kirby Smart?
Well, I wasn't in agreement for Mark Rick being tomorrow. I'm not becoming a Gamecock. I'm still a Bulldog fan.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm still going to remain loyal, which I like. I like Mark Rick. I'll have to pull for him, but when it comes to Georgia, South Carolina, I'm going to have to pledge my allegiance to the Dogs. And I'll support Kirby Smart because I was pulling for him when he was playing football there. Now I'll be pulling for him probably come Sunday or Monday when they announce that he's the new head coach in Georgia.
You like him more than Will Muschamp. He's a Georgia graduate. You know?
Oh, yeah.
And he's fiery, Will Muschamp, he snarls and says mean things to officials.
He was talking in another language I couldn't understand Saturday, too. Had a few choice words. I think that's and would you rather get a Florida reject or a proven Alabama coordinator,
Well, I mean, look, Muschamp did have he was 28-21 at Florida.
Well, he was 11-2. What, his first or second year?
Second year.
Had a good second year. I'm not saying that it went well for him there. It ended horribly, but who's going to run your offense at Georgia?
That's a good question.
Let's
we'll worry about that later.
Yeah, don't worry. Offense.
Mike Bobo, who Georgia fans hated, he's doing well at Colorado State.
Muschamp. When the child puts his hand on a hot stove, you don't have to worry about him touching it anymore, meaning that he's learned his lesson from Florida.
Maybe so. Hey, we're back on Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network here on a Tuesday night. Want to remind you that insects and diseases can be moved hundreds of miles in firewood and threaten our forests, favorite campsites, neighborhoods, state and national parks. Help protect the trees you love by purchasing firewood at or near where you burn it. For more information, visit don'tmovefirewood.org. All right, now back to your calls in a little bit. Basketball-wise, South Carolina, winner last night over Western Carolina in Columbia. The Gamecocks improving to 7-0. Their best start since 2004-2005 when they opened up with 8 straight wins. They're now 7-0, 76-53 over Western Carolina last night. High scorer was Mindaugas Kashinas with 20 points. He had 11 rebounds. That's his 5th career double-double, 2nd of the season. 16 points from Michael Carrera. Chris Silva off the bench with 9 points and a career-high 11 rebounds for him. Frank Martin, after the ball game, settling in to his chair to take a few questions and make a few comments to the media.
Oh, boy. Last couple days, I wasn't happy leading into Lipscomb with our approach, our enthusiasm, our defense. It just slipped. And in the last 2 days, they were phenomenal in practice. Their enthusiasm, the energy, the effort. We defended again in practice, and that translated to how we played today with the energy and enthusiasm. The problem is when you which was unbelievable. Maybe we practiced too hard. I don't know. But we had some sequences in the first half where we had the ball, the rim, and shot an air ball over the rim on a layup this way. And the guy got the offensive rebound, shot an air ball over the rim that way. And then we had 14 turnovers or something like that and got beat to 50-50 balls. So, we offensively, we kind of made an adventure out of the first half, but I thought we played hard. I thought defensively we struggled early in the game guarding the basketball, which continues to be a problem from our point guard spot, PJ, Marcus Stroman, the guy that does the best job. Dwayne's he's not doing a good job of that, and he's been great for us in the past. Sindarius right now is the only consistent on-the-ball defender we have. Carrera's actually doing a pretty good job. But we got guys out there denying and flying around, and now the guy that has the basketball, he's got no one to pass to, so he puts his head down and drives. Well, we got to be better on the ball because if we keep getting beat off the dribble, now what happens is now we all have to go to our help responsibilities. And another senior team, so, the young man was dribble driving us. We got the help. They pass it to the open man, then he'd run through, go to the other side. They make the next pass, and now we're scrambling. We're rotating, make another pass. We'd rotate, and then they throw it to the last guy, who's the guy that started the problem to start with, and he'd be wide open, and nobody would rotate to him, and then he'd get the shot. So I don't mean to give you a long-winded story there, but that was a problem early in the game. We fixed that. And then outside of that, I really, really thought we defended and played with energy. So because they're pretty good. I understand that there's popular opinions. Larry's teams always play basketball the right way. They're seniors, they're physical, they guard you, and then offensively they attack you. And so I'm proud of the guys, the way that we came out the second half and played a lot better offensively.
Okay, that's USC basketball coach Frank Martin. This football recruiting note that I just ran across on Twitter before we get to Brad Brownell, former USC commitment, and a guy that Clemson showed interest in as well, PJ Blue, the safety out of Montgomery, Alabama, announced a commitment to Louisville this afternoon. So he has gone bye-bye, Birdie, to the Gamecocks, and hello, Birdie, to the Cardinals. PJ Blue now committed to Louisville. Now, last night, Clemson played a great offensive game up at Minnesota. Shot the ball well, but Minnesota shot the ball well as well. And also made about 24 free throws. I think the Tigers had like 11 made free throws. That was a big difference in the game, the foul shooting, especially down the stretch. Here is Coach Brad Brownell some of his post-game conversation with the basketball voice of the Tigers, Tony Castricone, courtesy of Learfield Sports.
Coach, it was a game in which you guys actually knocked down 14 three-pointers, and we knew threes would be key in this game, but it seemed like defensively somewhere in the second half, weren't able to get enough stops and big moments, and Minnesota just got the momentum it needed on offense.
Yeah, Jordan Murphy was the difference in the game, and his 8 offensive rebounds were backbreakers. I mean, it was. I told our team that I thought he's an all Big Ten type player. He's just a freshman. He's only played 5 or 6 games or whatever it is. But when you watch him, he's just. I mean, he's 6'6.5" or 6'7", 230, and he's bouncy, and he's so wide and strong, and just has a toughness about him that you can't teach. And he was the difference in the game. I mean, we played obviously great offensive basketball, confident, shot it, passed it, shared it, attacked their press. They quit pressing us. It's disappointing to play that well offensively. I think we're a little bit more offensive, more talented offensive team this year, but we don't have the defensive toughness that you need to win tough games. And this was a game that was in our hands in terms of having a great opportunity, and we just weren't good enough, tough enough defensively to finish them off.
Jordan Roper and Deron Blossom game both had fantastic offensive nights and near career high for Blossom game, and Roper did have a career high. It looked like they really did everything they could on the offensive end to come up with the buckets to keep you in the game late.
Well, we knew Deron had it was an interesting game in terms of they have King, who's a terrific player and can score a lot of different ways. We actually did a good job on his threes. He was 2 for 3, but he's also good around the rim. And then Deron is obviously a tough cover for them athletically around the court. And I thought we moved him around well, and he made very athletic plays. We ran some decent things for Jordan. We found him in transition. He shot the ball well, played with great confidence. Those guys had terrific offensive days, and those are guys that we need for our team to be successful.
Trying to coach up the defense in the second half, how difficult is that when guys start to get into foul trouble a little bit?
Well, it is a little bit. Landry's nursing a hit that's really been bothering him, and he hasn't probably practiced very well the last couple of days and trying to fight through it. And, he wasn't nearly as effective as he has to be in a game like this. City, I thought was just okay as well. Did some good things early. I thought City did really good things early when we built our lead. But that spot hurt us. I mean, we just can't have a guy get 8 offensive rebounds. When we did get him to miss, he tipped in a bunch of balls, and he had hustled us to a few plays, and we might have worn down a little bit in the game, but it was a very competitive, exciting basketball game. A lot of kids on both teams making good plays, good execution. At the end of the day, they had a great run. We turned it over a couple of times in the second half and had that little lull where we finally struggled a little bit, and that's going to happen, on the road especially, and you've got to weather it. And, the challenge for this team this year is just having enough defensive toughness to get stops. We're more talented offensively. We have more offensive-minded players. That part of it's great, but when you really need a couple stops back-to-back and you get a team to miss, you got to somehow find the rebound, and we weren't able to do it. And so when you don't do that, it's hard to win games on the road like this.
There you go, Brad Brownell, Tony Castricone, the basketball play-by-play voice of the Tigers from Minnesota last night. Tough loss for Clemson. Tigers back in action tomorrow night over at the Well in Greenville against Upstate. So we'll see if the Tigers can bounce back, see if Eddie Payne's team can give the Tigers a battle. Then on Sunday afternoon at 2, the Tigers at home again, or I guess it is home away from home. Back in action again against the Wofford Terriers at 2 o'clock. And the Terriers are playing Georgia Tech tonight.
27-26 Georgia Tech with 2 minutes to go in the first half.
Virginia's leading Ohio State 11-6 ACC Big Ten Challenge continuing tonight as well. Back in a moment.
Coach Lown, congratulations.
This is the place to talk Tigers, Gamecocks, and more. Sports talk across the state on the South Carolina Radio Network.
Okay, time for the high school football report tonight. A service of Farm Bureau Insurance. With new auto insurance rates from Farm Bureau, you could be saving a whole lot of money even if you've received a quote before. Rates are now more competitive than ever. Get a free quote today from your local Farm Bureau insurance agent. And tonight we begin our previews of the upcoming state championship games. We'll begin in 1A. It's the we'll begin in 2A. 2A Division 2, the showdown between Silver Bluff and Abbeville. Should be a great matchup, two traditional powerhouse teams. And I had a chance yesterday to talk with Coach Al Lown from Silver Bluff, along with Coach Jamie Nichols from Abbeville, to get their thoughts on the matchup.
Coach Lown, congratulations. 10-3 season. It's a good, strong run through the playoffs. You get to see these guys again in the state championship game. What about the second time around facing Abbeville?
Well, hopefully we can do better than we did the first time. They completely dominated us the first game, and I think we've gotten better, and I think they've gotten better. So I hope we've closed the gap on them since back in early August and give them a good game this week.
Yeah, Jamie, what about that, trying to beat a team a second time, especially in a state championship setting?
It'll be tough, no doubt about it. First of all, it's just an honor to play against Silver Bluff because we have a tremendous amount of respect for their coaches and athletes and community.
This is a matchup of two traditional teams. I mean, you guys have played individually in a lot of championships over the year, Coach Lown. What about Silver Bluff season and the way it's just kind of all come together for you here at the end?
Well, it is great to play Abbeville. We've actually even scrimmaged each other years that we didn't play because we love the competition they provide. But it's been a real rewarding year for our kids. We've talked a lot about the second half this year, and even though we got beat pretty soundly the first game, our kids didn't quit. And I told our kids when coming off the field that, if we keep giving that effort in the second half, good things are going to happen to us. And sure enough, it did. We had a good run and were able to come back, and especially against Andrews in the second half when we were down 14.5 to come back and win. So it's been a real good turnaround for our kids.
Jamie, what about your team? What are some of the keys that have helped you to get to this point?
Well, I think it starts with our seniors. Our seniors have been so big for us all year. These guys, it's good to see Abbeville and Silver Bluff here from a personal standpoint for me because I know what we went through last year and I know what I went through. Mm-hmm. When you see kids achieve, there are no losers when you get to this level. A couple of years ago we were scrimmaging and I joked with Al. I said, look, you're going to play for somebody in our region for a state championship. And sure enough, he did. He played Batesburg this year. And then this year after our game, he turned around and he said, you're going to play somebody for a state championship. Little I know to him, but we knew he would have a shot at it.
Is it difficult, Coach Lown? You two know each other so well. You know their coaches, you know their personnel, you know their tendencies, vice versa. Is it hard to prepare for a team like that or easy?
I think it's easier because both teams are going to be fundamentally sound. Like I said, we've scrimmaged and played each other now 4 or 5 years in a row. And it's all going to come down to execution. I mean, I don't think either one of us are going to fake each other out. You don't even try to hardly do that. You just got to tell your kids, you've got to go out there and out-execute and out-play. And so from that standpoint, it makes it a lot easier.
Mm-hmm. Jamie, what about this Silver Bluff team? What do you, knowing them so well, what do you focus on this time?
Well, I think you have to stop the run game. Their power run game is as good as anybody's, and they have the counter off that, and they will throw it. Their quarterback has really evolved. Al has found he had some good running backs, but he's really found his go-to running back, which makes that offense go. And then defensively, I was impressed with them defensively when we played them the first time. They were very physical and fast.
Al, what about his club and what you have to do to slow them down?
Well, that's a good question. Slow them down is the right term. I mean, you can't stop them. They do a lot of things, and they've evolved from, being a wishbone team when Coach Botts was there primarily, and obviously running more spread and putting more pressure on the perimeter and with the pass game. So that's going to be a major thing we have to do. And then, of course, defensively, they're the same sound, get after it, tough football team. Mm-hmm. And so, we got to block them, and it's going to be a big challenge for us.
Who's got the better defense?
They do.
I would say his is better because when you see number 6 and number 8, wow, those are two animals. I mean, they really are.
You get after it.
And 53.
53.
You get after it.
Yeah, Tron Jackson is committed to Coastal Carolina, made north-south, and then Devontae Davis, number 6, is 6'5", 260 or something, and so he's a junior. So our defensive end is good, but we've given up a lot of points this year, and we need to slow them down. That's the right term, not stop. Just try to slow them down.
Mm-hmm. Coaches, congratulations once again. Great year for both of you, and good luck in the championship game.
Thank you, and it's always an honor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, there you go, Coach Lown, Coach Nichols, looking ahead to the championship game between Abbeville and Silver Bluff. Those teams have put out some players over the years. They'll play for the 2A Division II championship. That'll be on Saturday at Benedict College. We'll continue to preview the upcoming championship games the rest of the week here on Sports Talk. Back in a moment. All right, final couple of minutes here on Sports Talk on this Tuesday night, presented by Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 college savings plan. Future Scholar is the smart and easy way to save for a loved one's future college costs. The holidays are a perfect time to invest. Visit futurescholar.com for more information. Future Scholar is administered by the Office of State Treasurer Curtis Loftus. And while we're talking about education, do you want more out of your education? We all want more. Palmetto College offers the quality of a 4-year education online, and to find out more, visit palmettocollege.sc.edu. With Palmetto College, your future has no limits. All right, some news out of Clemson about the pizza party.
They're going to have one. They just
I thought you said you had some news. You were reacting to something about.
No, they just put out a release saying they're going to have one and announce the details later. When it's going to be.
So there's nothing new on the pizza front.
No, nothing
pizza
new.
Party.
There will be pizza. I don't know what kind. If it's going to just be all pepperoni, there's going to be pepperoni and cheese. They're going to have some Supremes.
Is it definitely you said it's definitely Papa John's?
It's definitely Papa John's.
Not Domino's.
Not Domino's. Not Pizza Hut.
Not
Marco's. Unless you want to drink, bring your
not
own
Little
pizza.
Caesars.
Jimmy John's.
Not Godfather's.
Godfather's.
Not Mazio's.
All All right, I guess
Idiot.
we've touched them all.
Tombstone.
DiGiorno.
Get the frozen
Totino's.
Let me just throw frozen pizzas to the
Take them home.
Take them home.
If they lose against North Carolina, that might be the case.
Frozen pizzas. All right. So we are set for tomorrow, and tomorrow night on the program, we will have hopefully the M&M boys together once again. Corey Miller and Will Merritt. Got to reach out to Will, see if he's back from his trip, if he can join us. Hopefully he will. We'll have more talk about the USC coaching situation. No doubt, names are just being thrown out there left and right. I'm seeing, they're talking Shane Beamer. We mentioned Jeremy Pruitt. Who else has come up recently about the job?
Rich Bisaccia.
Yeah, Rich's name came back up as well. We mentioned that.
Lincoln Riley's name.
Lincoln Riley's name's been tossed out there. There's going to be a lot of names being tossed out there.
Let's face it, it's not being tossed. A lot of fans act as if Ray's throwing these names out. No, agents, people who think they're agents, people who are selling who they think that their favorite guy is, but none of this is coming from the office of the AD.
No, of course not. Of course not. At this point, I'm just willing to sit back and wait and see what happens, and presume that Ray Tanner will hire a quality guy to be his head football coach, and this guy will hire quality assistants to join him, and it will go from there. And they'll hit the recruiting trail and see if they can salvage this recruiting season and hold on to the guys that they had with the class and add a few more to it. And we look forward to being with you tomorrow night to talk all about it. Thank you, State Man, Pro K-Mac. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.